Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brook Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 12, Episode 6. And before we get into it, I have to say it's a sad day when I'm siding with Kyle Richards about anything. You guys know how I feel about Miss Kyle. I think she's very sneaky, very two-faced, very cowardly. But in this here episode, I said, okay, she's actually making some sense. Crystal, I'm going to tell you just like this, reality TV is not for you. And this episode solidified it, that you do not need to be back for another season. I mean, the crying, the facial expressions, your body language, you looked uncomfortable from beginning to end. Oh, let me just address this quickly. I saw on TikTok there's that video floating around of Sutton's daughter's former best friend. She's on her TikTok saying that she and Porter, who's Sutton's daughter, used to be best friends, and she experienced some really nasty behavior, some very racist behavior from Sutton every time she would go over to Sutton's house.
Funny. Yes, but not funny, haha. Funny, weird.
And so people were grilling her about it, and the girl has since deleted the post. All I'm going to say is this. Her daughter's former friend, I'm going to need to see some more receipts. But with all that being said, let's just jump right on into this recap because we don't have a minute to spare. So it's the next morning in Mexico, and all the ladies are getting ready for the day. And everybody except for Kyle and Crystal have their glam squads with them. We see Sutton with hers, we see Garcelle with her squad. And side note, I was not loving that caftan or that hat that Garcelle had on. And don't get me wrong, you guys know I love Garcelle, but I just was not feeling the black and white stripes for the beach. I don't know what it was, but I just feel like for a beach vacation, you should do some colors, like a cute pink or some corals and orange, like something fun like that. I just felt like the black and white stripes, it didn't hit for me. So of course we see Erika in her suite. She's getting all made up. Her glam squad is there. You see the hair extensions, the makeup, everything. She has the audacity to say that while she's downsized in every other area of her life, she refuses to give up her glam squad because she needs it. At this point, I really do believe that she's a narcissist or a sociopath, because for you to have the gall to twist your mouth and say that you deserve to have a glam squad still and how you don't care and you deserve it, how dare you? And I saw the reports about how she's in trouble with her taxes. I think she owes $2 million in taxes, and she's telling the court that she can't pay because she doesn't have the money to pay it. So you can't pay your taxes, but you can pay to have a glam squad. Got it. And no offense, Erika, but this whole tough girl, bad bitch act is getting very stale and old, and it's not believable anymore since we all know that you're damn near penniless. So stop it. I don't know who you're trying to fool, like you still got it like that, but you don't. The Black American Express is gone. The 2 private planes are gone. The $40,000 a month just on maintenance, that's all gone. So I don't know who you're trying to fool, but it's not working over here. So now we see all the ladies on the beach and they're having a beautiful breakfast. Can we quickly discuss that spread? I mean, they had the croissants, the bagels, they had lox. I love lox. Oh my gosh. They had everything. They had bacon, you know, the home fries, just chef's kiss. And of course they had the mimosas on deck too. But they're sitting down having breakfast. Garcelle's joking around about can she have a piece of bacon. And then Diana brings up how Sutton is a bacon-eating vegetarian. Now, Diana, I don't understand why you're so fixated on that. Because you've brought this up now for the past, 3 or 4 episodes? Sutton has a piece of bacon every now and again. Deal with it. I don't understand why you keep harping on it like it's an indictment on her character. Diana is just super annoying to me. I think she's boring. She brings nothing to this show. And I'm like, why did Bravo cast her in the first place? I mean, yes, she has the money, but that's really all she has. I don't like her personality. I find her to be very pretentious, very stale, just always picking at Sutton. I'm just over it. So now we see Dorit finally join them for this beach breakfast, and already she can't help herself. She gets to the table, oh my gosh, you guys, I just can't sleep. I'm so anxious. I was hyperventilating. It took everything in me to not go back home. And it's like, you guys are only in Mexico for what, 2 or 3 days? So why would you go home? Like, what are you saying? And how anxious and scared can you be when you guys are in a 5-star hotel, there's security, all your castmates are there, there's a production crew probably sleeping in the next room down the hall. So how nervous are you? Like, Dorit, if you don't stop, I mean, every chance she gets, she's always bringing up the robbery. It's giving very much dramatics of a soap opera. All this, oh my gosh, guys, I just can't deal with this, and I just can't sleep, and I can't eat, and PK, and I called him, and he had to talk me off the ledge, and it's all that. And it's like, we're not buying this, Dorit. We're really not. It looks and sounds very fake. You were happy for a free 5-star vacation on Bravo's dime and to be on Diana's private jet. So please. So while they're eating breakfast, Erika's in a super silly mood, and she's talking about how her antidepressants are really kicking in and she's just feeling good. So Garcelle says, oh, would we notice any difference if you weren't on medication? And Erika says, oh yeah, you think I'm nasty now? I'd be even worse like last year. And like I've always said, Erika would not have this smoke if she were on another franchise. If she were face to face with Teresa Giudice, girl, stop. So for her to be so proud of herself that she's just so nasty to these women because they're too afraid to do something is comical. She wouldn't pull this stunt in Potomac or Atlanta. I don't even think she would try it on OC. So Garcelle says, oh, like a bully? And now Erika wants to get smug, and she's like, girl, yeah, they called me a bully earlier this morning when I went to a court filing. So then she goes on to say how she's proud to be a bully, how she doesn't take any mess from people, and if she's a bully, that's fine, because she's been called even worse. And the fact that Erika is proud of this, I'm like, girl, at your big age, you're what, 50, 51? And you're sitting up there pleased with yourself to be called a bully. So now Sutton interjects and she's like, oh, well, I guess that attitude is useful in the courthouse. And I know she was being sarcastic, but for me, I would not respond to anything that came out of Erika's mouth. I would be paying Erika dust. And when Kyle interjected and brought up how Sutton actually wants to take the LSAT and the bar exam, and then Erika said, oh, well, I could actually tutor you. And it was like, again, if I were Sutton, I wouldn't engage Erika in any type of conversation. She could not say anything to me. Because you don't get the right to scream at me, put your finger in my face, and then think that I'm going to talk to you. That's just not how this works. And Erika, don't let anybody else hear you say that Tom was grading the bar exam at one point. So now the conversation changes gears, and they're asking Lisa Rinna how she's doing. Rinna says she woke up in good spirits today, but it's hard. And she goes on to say that while her mom was dying, she was speaking to a medium, and the medium said, look out for birds. So ever since her mom has passed, she's been seeing birds everywhere. And then she goes on to say that when she was opening up her makeup kit, there was a ceramic bird inside, and she's like, oh my gosh, that's my mom. Now, I will say that I believe in those kind of signs too, because I kid you not, I'm going to get chills talking about it. But when I was younger, there used to be this white butterfly in our backyard. I'd always run around trying to catch it, right? Then as I got older, I wouldn't see this butterfly. And I never thought about it again, whatever. But when my father passed away last year, that white butterfly came back. And I know it might sound silly, but I'm like, oh my gosh, that's my dad trying to say hi, And it's just so funny. I haven't seen that white butterfly in years until now. And so now that it's warm again and summer's here, the white butterfly has come back. And like when I go on my walks, like I'll see the butterfly and I'll like wave to it and say hi. And it's such a nice little thing that I look forward to throughout the day. Like I'll see the butterfly if I'm like driving or something, and it just always gives me chills though. But when I heard Rinna talking about the birds, I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, it's definitely a sign. So now we jump into the next scene, and the ladies are split up in two groups. Rinna, Erika, Crystal, and Diana are at the resort, and they're taking surf lessons. And now Kyle, Dorit, Sutton, and Garcelle are in town shopping. And I'm always here for a shopping trip. So I said, yeah, I would have been with them, not with the rest of them at the resort. I mean, I do want to try surfing one day, but on that day, I would have been shopping. Let me just say, the boutique that Kyle, Dorit, Sutton, and Garcelle were shopping in was gorgeous. They had a bar outside. I said, that's how you do it. Shopping and some drinks, that's a perfect combination.
I love it. I love it.
So anyhow, when they get to the store, Garcelle reveals that she just bought a brand new beach house. Now, Garcelle, I have to get you together quickly because you really got on my nerves downplaying your accomplishment of buying a beach house. That's a huge deal. I said, Mama, if you don't stop with all this self-deprecating, oh, you know, it's just a little beach house. You know, it's tiny. It's a little something. I said, no. Be proud of yourself. That's a big deal. You have two beautiful homes, and 2,700 square feet is not a small little tiny place. That's a nice size. Now, while they were shopping, there was a ring that Sutton wanted. It was $5,000. And it was so funny because she kept trying to ask everybody to buy it for her. She's like, Kyle, you want to buy it for me? Because Kyle had offered to buy everybody a present. So she's like, hey, Kyle, you know, my present could be the ring. And I definitely related to Sutton when she said that she always likes the most expensive thing in the store. I said, girl, you and I both. So they finished shopping, and now they're outside having some drinks and just talking. Now, did anybody catch how Kyle was showing off the lingerie that she bought? I was thinking, I don't know what it is about Kyle, but she always has to find a way to fish for compliments in some shape, way, or form. And it drives me nuts. I notice that every time Kyle's around the other women, especially in a group outing, she always has to bring some attention to what she's wearing. And it's like, you cannot be this hard up for a compliment. So now they bring up all the drama from last night's dinner, and Dorit goes on to ask Sutton how she feels about Crystal. So Sutton says that her and Crystal are at ground zero again, and they're starting from scratch. So now Kyle jumps in the conversation and says, look, Crystal did a complete 180 last night. And Sutton says, yeah, she does have a tendency to twist words. Now, in my opinion, I think that it's more than just Crystal twisting up words. I think that she outright lies and then manipulates the situation to make it seem like she's the victim when she's not. And let me tell you something right now. Kyle was on the money when she said, I think that Crystal is playing the victim card because she wants our validation and our approval. So now Garcelle brings up the rumors about Crystal falling out with all those people, and she goes on to add that that was very powerful for Sutton to say that. Kyle co-signs and says that she's heard these rumors for a long time too, but she chose not to say anything. But it's all starting to line up, especially with how Crystal was acting at the dinner. Sutton reiterates that a lot of Crystal's former friends warned her about Crystal and how it's a pattern with her. Now let me just stop right here and say, I believe all these rumors about Crystal falling out with 14 people. I believe it. Because the way she's moving this season, it is clear that she is desperate to be in the cool group. And in this group, the cool girls are Kyle, Erika, Rinna, Dorit. And Crystal wants in. And I 100% believe that she threw out, oh my gosh, Sutton said something so dark and just so evil and so awful, because she was banking on the fact that because they don't like Sutton and they're always throwing her under the bus, she thought that they would automatically side with her and ice out Sutton. So now when the plan has backfired, now she's scared to death because it's like, oh my gosh, the plan has failed. And I wouldn't be surprised if she pulled this mess in the last friend group she was in. I see a woman who has a lot of money, but still feels like an outcast. You know what's really crazy and also very sad? The fact that these shows display how so many people at their big ages still have a high school mentality, because on every single Real Housewives franchise is the same dynamic. You have 2 or 3 women who are the cool girls and run that franchise, and then you have the rest of the women dying to get in their good graces. We see it on Potomac, Atlanta, Beverly Hills, OC. I mean, it's just so crazy. These ladies would have a time with me because I'd be like, look, I don't care about your friendship. We're either going to be cool or we're not, but I'm not going to be sitting up here chasing after anybody. That's not happening. So now we flip back to Erika, Rinna, Crystal, and Diana on the beach, and they're all talking about the whole mess from last night as well. So of course you have Erika starting the conversation off, and she has to be so dramatic and just so extra for no reason. She says, Crystal, how are you doing? Because last night's dinner was a mess, and Sutton kept calling you a liar, and she's just not going to stop. So Crystal says, I don't want any conflict, and then she immediately starts sobbing. They were really treating Crystal like she was a baby with all that, oh, sweetheart, it's okay, don't cry, don't cry. Like, we just want you to fight back. It was like, Crystal should have never opened her mouth and said anything about there being something so dark and so awful. She wouldn't be in this boat had she just kept her mouth shut. She also wouldn't be accused of being a liar had she just said what Sutton allegedly said. She brought this on herself. I don't feel sympathy for her. This is her own doing. And I really rolled my eyes when Crystal said, I'm just trying to do my best. I was like, girl, what does that mean? What do you mean trying to do my best? Crystal is really trying to spin the situation like she's the victim. And if we're being honest, Sutton didn't even go that hard on Crystal, because had Crystal said this on another franchise, they would have really torn her up. So her sobbing and breaking down because Sutton raised her voice slightly, I'm like, sis, please. You got off real light. And you should have been cursed out when you told Garcelle, I understand, you might not understand big words. Garcelle let you off easy, because I know had you said that to me, girl, you would have ran off crying. I would have made sure that you were sent back to LA. You wouldn't even have wanted to film with me had you said something crazy like that. So you want to sit up here and cry like somebody really tore you up when you got off easy. I was just so disgusted watching Erika tell her to fight back. I'm like, you just hate Sutton so much, don't you? And I thought it was telling when Erika said, Crystal, at this point, I don't even care what the truth is, just fight back. But then again, you're a liar, so of course you wouldn't care about the truth. So now Erika keeps reiterating how Sutton called Crystal a liar and how that's not okay. And then she brings up the whole rumor about the 14 friends dropping her. So now Rinna says in her confessional that she heard this same rumor, and then she jokes around like, 14 people is a lot. I don't even have one friend. I said, well, we all know that you don't have friends, Rinna, because you're soulless, heartless, and you throw your friends under the bus. Because we saw how you did your good friend Denise Richards at 25 years. So it's not a surprise that you don't have friends. If you would have told me that I would dislike Rinna as much as I do, I would have never believed you. Because when she first came on this show, I loved her. But baby, these last 4 seasons, she has been so out of order. I will never forgive her for how she did LVP, Denise Richards, and then when she was trying to get nasty with Garcelle last season, she has lost me. So at this point, Crystal is sobbing. She's hysterically crying. Erika takes her to the bar, and she's just trying to talk to her and calm her down. I was shaking my head, y'all. I said, 2 pathetic people. And Crystal, you should be embarrassed, because for you to even say, well, do I think that Erika's biased because she's fighting with Sutton? Yes. but at the same time, I feel like she really does care about me and she wants to protect me and give me good advice. I said, you're a bigger fool than I thought. Because if you think for 1 second that Erika actually cares about you, you are sadly mistaken. And just an FYI, sis, you will never be invited or accepted into the Fox Force 5, whatever they want to call themselves. You're never going to be part of the in crowd. And it was so evident that Rinna and Erika didn't care at all, because when we get to the next scene, they're all getting ready for dinner, and Kyle FaceTimes Erika and Rinna. And so she's asking what they did for that day. They're like, oh yeah, girl, we did the surf lessons. Then we were talking and Crystal was sobbing. So Kyle's like, oh my gosh, Crystal was crying. Like, what happened? What was she saying? And Rinna and Erika are like, we honestly don't know. We forgot what she was crying about. And they were so blasé about it too. They're like, yeah, she was crying. Yeah, she was really emotional. Yeah, she was crying and crying and crying and crying and crying. And it's like, if you are truly friends with somebody, if you truly care about somebody, you remember why they were crying. Crystal, you have truly set yourself up for failure because nobody in the group respects you or trusts you. You got Rinna and Erika being two-faced, playing you like a fiddle, but yet you want to believe that they care about you. So now we see all the ladies at dinner, and a quick side note. Erika, you're telling me that you spent money that you don't have to fly out your glam squad, and that shirt dress was the best they could do? That outfit wasn't it? I was like, okay, you didn't need a stylist for that. But anyhow, they're all ordering their drinks, just talking, and somehow or another, Diana's book gets brought up. And Diana had this book, it was called Room 23, and it was all these sexy pictures of like famous celebrities. Rinna's in the book, and so Erika's like, oh my gosh, yeah, like that was a very sex positive book for women, like I love it. So they're asking Diana about it, and Diana is super dry, super short. It's clear that she does not want to talk about it. And already I was like, now, why are you getting so pressed over them asking you about your book? So the producer goes on to ask Diana in her confessional, so Diana, it's not true about you being an international madam and pimping girls out? And she's like, of course not. So we find out that a lot of these rumors about her being, you-know-what, stemmed from this book. I apologize if I'm talking in code, but there are certain words, phrases, topics that you need to be real careful about when you talk about it on YouTube. So if you don't know about all the rumors and allegations surrounding Diana, Google them. And I said it's just very shocking that for somebody with such heavy allegations surrounding them, you would think that Diana would be a lot nicer than she is. So now we see the resort employees come over to the table and they begin this energy cleansing ritual. Now, while the ritual looked beautiful, I will say this is the wrong group because these women are at each other's throats 24/7. And some of the women in this group are so cold and so heartless, nothing is cleansing their energy. So here's where the mess pops off and where I started getting annoyed, because the way Erika was inserting herself the entire time, acting like she was involved in this, really pissed me off. Erika, I know you need a storyline, but enough with jumping in. And it's so funny because Erika will be the first one screaming at somebody if they did this to her. Crystal is not a baby. She's a grown-ass woman. She should be able to stand on her own 2 feet and defend herself. She does not need Erika to come to her rescue and talk for her. It was really pissing me off. I really hit the floor when Erika started questioning Sutton about where did she hear this rumor about Crystal's old friend group dropping her. I was like, Sutton, if you don't curse Erika out and tell her that you're not talking to her, I was annoyed that Sutton was even engaging with Erika. I would have said, Erika, this is between me and Crystal, not you. So Sutton says, look, I know this of you, okay? Crystal's upset and she's like, you know this of me or you heard this? And Sutton says, I know this. And in my opinion, Crystal looked really guilty and nervous because she was like, well, Sutton doesn't know what happened between me and my other friends. Like, I'm not even going to breathe life into this. Like I said, I believe every word. Crystal gives me an insecure wannabe. and a very desperate social climber. So now Erika starts questioning Sutton again, and she's like, are you willing to tell who told you this information? And Sutton says, well, they're not here, so I'm not going to say their names. And I was thinking, again, Erika could not speak to me. There is no way that I would have entertained her asking me questions. We don't talk. We're not friends. You don't get the right to question me and give me the third degree after you cursed me out and threatened me last season. That's not happening. Y'all, this scene just really had me screaming at the TV because when Erika had the gall to say, well, you know, Crystal told me earlier that she feels like she's an easy target in this group, and she also feels like whatever she says isn't good enough. I'm like, the reason why she feels that way is because she's not telling the truth. And Kyle, I'm gonna need you to stop being so ballsy in the confessionals, but then being quiet at the dinner table, because you were correct when you said, Erika, please stop. You're only doing this because you can't stand Sutton. You're not doing this because you actually believe Crystal. I really wish you would have just said that to Erika right then and there. Garcelle is getting more annoyed by the minute. She's like, Crystal, that's not fair to us. You need to speak up. Don't make it like we're the bullies and you're this little weak, innocent lamb. Speak up for yourself, defend yourself, and stand on your own 2 feet. So here goes Crystal playing the victim. She's talking in this low voice. You can hardly hear her. She's like, I am trying to speak up for myself. I am trying to speak up for myself. It's just that my word choice is super confusing. Now, you were getting on Garcelle the other day about how, you know, she doesn't understand big words. But now, for the woman with such a great vocabulary, now all of a sudden, her word choice is confusing? Is it confusing, or are you just lying? Which one is it, Crystal? Are you this intellectual scholar who has a way with words? Or is your word choice confusing? I don't know what I'm saying. It can't be both. So Crystal and Sutton are going back and forth. Crystal wants an apology for Sutton spreading hearsay. And Sutton says, well, I need you to apologize for saying what you said about me. You keep doing it. I need you to stop it. So now Erika jumps in. And at this point, Garcelle is fed up. She says, Erika, you are bugging the hell out of me. I need you to stop butting in their conversation. It's not about you. This is between Crystal and Sutton. I said, thank you, Garcelle. Somebody clocked into work today, and you could see that Erika was taken aback by it. She was not expecting anybody to clock her. So now, Sutton apologizes for repeating hearsay. I would have been petty. I would not have apologized for that. I would say, girl, I heard it from trusted sources. Your former friends. I believe it. The way you've been doing me the past 2 years, I'm standing on it. Crystal wouldn't have gotten nan apology, I can assure you that. So now Crystal weakly apologizes to Sutton, and Sutton's like, I want to hear you say that louder in front of the whole group, please. Please say to everybody that you will not do that again. Like, leave me alone. Stop saying that I said stuff I didn't say. Crystal's upset, and then Sutton says, Crystal, I really like you. So now Crystal interrupts and says, but Sutton, you said last night that you hated me. So Sutton says, I didn't say that. Now Diana jumps in and she's like, no, you did say that you hated her. Now Sutton, I have to be fair. When they played that tape back, you did say that. You said something like, I like you as much as I hate you, but you did say that you hated her. So of course, since Diana can't stand Sutton, she says, here she goes again. She's clumsy with her words. So now Sutton and Diana go back and forth. Sutton is pissed. She starts raising her voice and yelling at Diana, her fingers in her face. They're all trying to calm Sutton down. Everybody telling Sutton to calm down really pissed me off. I was like, as nasty as Erika's gotten, last season, her finger was in Sutton's face. She was threatening her as well. And nobody came to Sutton's rescue except for Garcelle. Why are y'all acting like what Sutton did and said was the worst thing ever? You guys let Erika's piss poor behavior slide. So if Sutton has an outburst and starts raising her voice, she's entitled to that. Diana's been very nasty to Sutton on 2 prior occasions. So I definitely understood why Sutton was so angry this time. Like, girl, shut the F up, leave me alone, stop interrupting me. You've done it a bunch of times now, just stop. And Diana pulled a Karen because she was like, oh my gosh, Sutton, you just screamed at me. I said, girl, you will be okay. You will live to tell about it, okay? Sutton is super shaken up. She's just pissed at this point. She goes to the bathroom. Kyle follows behind her. And did you guys notice Erika and Lisa Rinna gave each other this smirk? They really got enjoyment seeing Sutton go off like that. It's evident that they really just find pleasure in pissing Sutton off and just ruining her night. They're just such a nasty duo, and I can't wait for the day when they fall out. Now we see Diana at the table. She's sobbing. She just can't believe that Sutton screamed at her. I said, Diana, the same way that you act like you're such a badass and you don't care, why are you so pressed about Sutton raising her voice at you? And Sutton didn't cry when Erika was screaming at her last year. She took it. So Diana will be okay, won't she? So Sutton and Kyle come back to the table. Sutton apologizes to Diana for losing her cool. And then you have Erika in the background saying she was crying. She was crying. She was crying because you yelled at her. And I love that Garcelle was so disgusted by this whole display. She was like, you know what? I can't. Let me just sit here and eat my artichoke, child. Like, I just can't do this. So Diana accepts Sutton's apology, but since her makeup is running, she wants to go to the bathroom and touch it up. So her, Dorit, and Crystal go to the bathroom, and now it's the rest of the ladies at the table. So Garcelle says, I just don't like the way Crystal caves in and doesn't defend herself and makes it like we're bullying her when that's not the case. Kyle agrees with Garcelle and says that Crystal is the one who put herself in this position and how she's playing the victim card. You have Erika playing dumb, and she's like, you guys really think that Crystal is that manipulative, that she would play the victim? Like, really? Really? And Kyle says, yeah. Kyle goes on to say that Crystal's doing this to get their approval and their sympathy, but this ain't it. So now Erika says, well, I don't think it's that. I just think that Crystal's not used to being challenged. Kyle says, yeah, those 14 friends probably challenged her, and that's why they fell out. So then Kyle says in her confessional that it is very strange that 14 people just drop you like a hot potato. Obviously, Crystal had something to do with that, and I agree. 14 people don't just drop you. I'm sorry. And with Crystal's track record, I definitely believe that she pulled a stunt like this, and everybody calls her out about it, pulled her card, and they kicked her out of the friend group. Because let's be real, that's a very weird rumor to make up, right? This might be the only time I ever say this, but I definitely think that Kyle was on the money about her assessment of Crystal. I think that Crystal is not a trustworthy person, and she likes to spin things in her favor to make herself look like she's the victim, when in reality, she's the one who's caused the entire mess. And I also think that Crystal loves to weaponize words and add some extra sauce to things, blow things out of proportion, like we see with this whole Sutton mess. Like I said, had Sutton said something racist, best believe Bravo would have aired that footage and she would have been fired. But y'all, we see Crystal, Diana, and Dorit come back to the table, and that's where the episode ends. Once again, Beverly Hills is giving what the girls said she was supposed to have gave. This season has been a 10 out of 10, and we're only 6 episodes in. But y'all, thank you so much for watching my recap. I hope you all enjoyed. And as always, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all later. Bye.